Hey everybody, welcome back to Family Firearm Reviews. Kyle here, and today we're going to check out the Smith & Wesson 5.7. So this is the new Smith & Wesson that came out that is optics ready and has that new tempo barrel design. So I'm really excited to get down in and dive into this firearm. So let's get right to it and get down on the table. Now that we're down on the table, we're going to check out our Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 5.7. Now this is something I've been kind of on the hunt for. I finally found one, super excited to get this home and get it checked out. So let's dive right into this box. So when you get in here, we have our owner's manual at the top, of course, a lot of our paperwork. The owner's manual as always looks very detailed. Very nice breakdown of the firearm, tons of pictures. Smith & Wesson is always very good with their manuals about these firearms and how to adjust things and everything you need to know. So if you have any questions, definitely refer to this. We're going to go over in another video takedown and lubrication because there are a lot of points in here because this is the tempo barrel system a little different that we're definitely going to have to check out. So we'll set this off to the side. We also get, our owner's cards, our warnings. We're going to get, our mail-in for our warranty, our crinkly gun lock that's stuck in there. I actually kind of glued it down in there. So we get our gun lock as always the safety stuff. We do have here the paper that it comes wrapped in. This was the piece that was on it at the gun store when I picked it up with the new tempo barrel system. It's gas operated, 22+1, optics ready. So a little advertisement, and then we get to the firearm itself. Get that paper out of the way. We had our warning sticker, kind of moved a little bit. Chamber flag. Now this is the mag loader, which is a little different. We'll show you how to use that, kind of what's different about it later on the video. It does come with the spare steel mag right here, 22 rounds, and then one comes in the firearm. So we'll get that out. You can see that that was empty. Check the chamber. Chamber is empty. So we are good to go with the rest of our review. So let's dive into this. Now that we have this out of the box, let's get right into the numbers because I know a lot of people are interested and want to know what the numbers are on our Smith & Wesson 5.7. Again, still unloaded, nothing in the chamber there. So with the Smith & Wesson 5.7, you're running a 5-inch threaded barrel, half by 28 threads underneath this. It's very nice, tight, so this wasn't super hard to get off, but you can feel as you're turning it, it's got the right kind of capture on there that you want, that it's not going to go flying off of there. You got to apply a little bit of force to get that to turn for the first time. Now, we also have an overall length of 8.5 inches. We have an overall height right here of 5.25 inches. It's a very slim firearm at 1.1 inches thick. And then we have a weight of 26.7 ounces unloaded. Now we do have that awesome 5.7 round with the 22+1 capacity, so we could run 23 rounds with this. Now it does come with 2 mags, and I have been looking around for the mags out there, and I found them anywhere. The cheapest I found them is $42, and the most expensive I found them is $50 a mag. So mags are going to be fairly expensive for this, but it's always nice to have them. And they are steel mags, so they are going to hold up. So if you do just run these 2 until you save up some money to pick up that next mag, that's not too bad of a situation that Smith & Wesson puts you in. Now let's get into the firearm. If we look here, we've got a very nice set of slide serrations in the front and the rear. Now what's nice is they actually have a flare right here on the rear, if you guys can see that. They're kind of going that way. They got rid of the fish scales on this new 2.0 series. They're doing a regular set of slide serrations, maybe a little bit more grip. But in the back here, it is flared out on that last little groove. It kind of reminds me of their equalizer that we did a review on a little earlier. Now, it is very smooth in these areas right here, and you can see where you can get a model that has a flip down safety. Mine does not have that safety. So you can get one with a thumb safety. This one does not come with it. I have the one that just has the trigger safety. So here you can see we have the Smith & Wesson texturing. It's that nice sandpapery grip. It gives you a very nice purchase. And the grip, as you can see, is very slim. Again, that 1.1 inch width, and you're able to really get your hand on here. It's not as thick as the original, I guess I would call it the OG 5.7 from F&N. But you can see you get a very nice, comfortable purchase. Lots of room for that support hand. Lots of places for you to ride on this firearm. Another great feature is it is fully ambidextrous. You can see we have our slide stop slide release here, our mag release here. We flip over, we have our slide stop slide release on this side, and then we have our mag release, which is swappable. You can put it on that side, and you can see the cut for the ambi safety if they were to put one on this firearm. Again, I went with the one without it. Now we do have a 4-slot pick rail, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have a nice pick rail on there. You're gonna be able to run whatever style of light and laser you wanted to. Now something else is it doesn't have a huge undercut here. It's just a little taper right there, nothing major, but still with that and with the grip, you can get a nice grip on this firearm, get your hands comfortably on this when you get out to the range. You're able to put 2 hands on there, as you can see. Very comfortable, very easy, lots of surface area. When you get to the trigger guard is pretty small, and I'm kind of surprised for the size of the firearm that the trigger guard is actually this little. And I think to make this pick rail so big, they kind of downsized on that trigger guard. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of space in here for you to get your finger in there. There's not a lot of room. And it's not quite as large as some of the others. So again, big hands, wearing mittens, time in the winter, that may be something you want to train with while it's warm or check out before you get into, you know, carrying this or using it when it's cold, depending on what you want to use it for. It might be something you want to check out. It has a very nice nitrite finish on here, an armor light finish. It's very, very, very nicely done. Smith & Wesson does a great job with their firearms. The finish feels and looks magnificent on here. If we want to get into the other features, it is optics cut, as you can see right there, and we do have a set of the white dot sights on this firearm. Those white dot sights are not night sights, but they are a good set, and they come pretty standard on those Smith & Wessons. We do have the RMRSC cut on here, so it's going to take all your smaller optics, and I think they did that because this is a very skinny, again, a very small firearm. You don't want to be bulking it up with something that's going to hang off the edges. So those RMRSCs are going to fit very well in here. It is cut down just a little bit into the slide right underneath here. Now, what else is pretty cool is they have serrations right here, as you can see, to reduce glare. But those serrations carry on to the plate that covers the optics cut. So that's a nice feature. That just shows that they went the extra step to kind of put those serrations on there. And not just stop it right there because they think you're going to take it off or it doesn't matter. I've seen that on other firearms we have out there. Now the slide is ported to reduce weight. The barrel is not ported, but the slide is. And you can swap out these sights and adjust them if need be. Of course, you've got your dovetailed front sight. You can adjust the front one left to right to help you out if that's something that you so choose to do. It is an internally hammer-fired firearm, so the trigger on this is just, I mean, out of the box. For a Smith & Wesson trigger, usually the performance triggers are a lot nicer, but I think this flat trigger right here is really, really, really awesome. I mean, we'll check it out right here. We're gonna rack the firearm. You can see right here, as we grip, we depress that safety. We have that little bit of take up here. And then as you go, nice crisp break. We do have a trigger stop right there. If we rack the slide, see our reset. Super short reset, and you're right back on that trigger. Let's do that reset again. I let it creep out a little far. So if we do that reset again, nice tactile reset, and we're right back on that trigger. Bam. That is a really comfortable, really performance-driven trigger on this firearm, I feel. And when I was testing this trigger out, I believe I was around the 3.13 pound mark, somewhere in there. So yeah, 3.13 pounds is what I got on this, now that I'm thinking about it. Very, very comfortable, very, very light, internally hammer-fired trigger, and we'll dive into that stuff too. With that, let's grab the scale, check the weights with a fully loaded mag and one in the chamber, so you can see what it feels like or what it's going to be like. Now that we have our scale here on the table, I've got it zeroed out. We're going to stick the mag inside of there. Again, we are empty. We're going to put this on there. We are running 1 pound, 10.3 ounces for our unloaded weight with one mag inside of it. So let's load it up. We're going to load it up with some FN 57x28, the 27 grain round. That was what I was able to find to shoot out of this. And we'll see what it weighs with the 22 plus 1 inside of it. So again, I'm going to drop this mag, leave that slide back. And we'll actually move this off to the side and show you how the mag loader works. So the mag loader is a little different. When I put it on here, Like I thought it would go on forward like this, but it actually goes on in backwards. So the front of your mag is actually here. It's got a nice little arrow, it fits in perfectly. And how you use this, you actually drop the rounds into the hole. They kind of load more like our AR mags versus loading like a regular pistol mag. It works really well. You just drop it in there, have this tilted forward a little bit, push it down, and it loads those mags nice and easily for you as you are out there, because once you get down towards the bottom, you know that 22 is going to be kind of a pain to get those 22 rounds inside of the magazine. So I'm going to get this loaded up, and then we'll get the scale back out. So again, we've got our firearm, put it on the scale. We have our 1 round to simulate 1 in the chamber. And then as you can see right here, we're marked 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 22. So you can see where you're at in your magazine when you're shooting or when you're loading. And we're going to take that and place it on the scale to simulate a fully loaded firearm. Get that all the way on there. So with 23 rounds in the firearm, you're going to be weighing 1 pound, 15.4 ounces. So you're sub 2 pounds with 23 rounds. And I think that's just a great little setup. And that's a great weight for a firearm like that. So with that, let's dive into the disassembly. So the takedown of this is pretty simple, but it does take a little bit of skill. So when you get home from the range, again, you want to make sure you're unloaded, nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag. So we'll lock that back. We will check, nothing in there to show clear. Make sure you're in a safe place. Make sure that no one's around and the ammo is away from the firearm. There's no chance of you accidentally grabbing a loaded mag. So if you do have mags loaded, put them somewhere else away from the table, okay? Because you're going to want to function check this once you get it all back together. So again, we need to push this pin and line it. Once we line this up with the half moon, so there's a half moon right here. What we do is we push this back like that, and then you're able to rotate the firearm. I change hands for this little section. There's a little pin here you're going to want to push, and you'll feel it move out a little bit. Again, they said to use maybe like a little pin or something to push that out, but I can usually grip this pretty easily with my hand and wiggle it out. So once you push that out, your slide stop slide release comes apart, and then you have your firearm here. Again, you're just going to pull the slide off. So what I usually do, just kind of grip the whole thing, depress the trigger, and it comes right apart. Now, this is what it looks like in her pieces. And as you can see here, we have our trigger bar, everything like that inside. We have our internal hammer, which you can see right here. Right there is the hammer. And again, when you put this back together, you have to make sure that hammer is down. But that is the hammer for the internally fired firearm. Again, you can just push that down when you put that back together if you want to check your hammer. And there's a lot of different oiling points that we're going to talk about here when we get this back together. So I sit this here. I then can remove my recoil spring. It's a metal guided recoil spring, which is nice. And then we get into the barrel system, which is much different than anything we've really seen. So this is the tempo barrel system, and it actually locks in with the slide. So as you can see there, there's a little bit of movement. That rotating barrel is going to decrease your recoil is really what it's meant to do. So we'll slide that forward a little bit. We're able to get that separated from the slide. And then what we really want to do is I'm going to move this off to the side. Your barrel actually rotates. There's a groove here. You want to rotate it out of that groove and pull it apart, right? So this is really just a sleeve, and this is your actual barrel. So you can see there's the gas port right here. And what that does is once the firearm is shot and the bullet travels past that point, it allows the barrel to rotate, and that's what's going to actuate the firearm. And that's really going to, depress or decrease all of the blowback, all of the felt recoil that you're going to have. But you can see that little gas port right there is going to push back and activate this barrel. It's very nice, a very cool new system. This rotating barrel is on a couple other firearms out there, and I think this is kind of a great age in firearms. We're getting a lot of great new innovations. Now we'll grab the slide real quick. We'll slide this up. You can see the ports on the slide. You have your typical, everything in there in the slide. Here's where the spot is for the hammer, so it can get up there and hit the striker and everything like that. Very nice finish on this. Very, very, very nice Smith & Wesson detailing on here. You can see they have their symbol M&P 57. They've got their Smith & Wesson right here engraved very nicely. Nice finish on this. Nothing to be disappointed about here. So give me a second. We're going to pull the manual up, and I'm going to talk about the lubrication points. So when you get your manual, you'll see they have all the takedown instructions, everything to take it apart. But right here is a lubrication. And as you can see right here, it's going to tell you everywhere to lubricate. They want you to put 1 drop on all of those areas. So if you look just on our frame here, we have 6 different points to lubricate. We need to put a drop here, 1 drop here on the other rail. We want to put 1 here, 1 here. 1 actually goes on the hammer, and then we put 1 right here on the side. So we want to make sure we lubricate all of those different moving parts inside of our firearm. Okay, and then in the tempo barrel system, what we have is 4 other lubrication points. They want you to lubricate this kind of here. It's kind of like I guess the housing where it slides up into it. The rotating parts, both lugs, need to be lubricated there. And then the lower part where it slides into the barrel, we also need to lubricate it right here because this is going to slide back and forth. You can see it's all the wear points where the barrel is rotating in and out. So you want to lubricate here, here, and here. All those moving parts need to have some lubrication on them for the pistol to function properly. Right? You can get that little bit of movement, and that's the movement it's going to give you while you are out there on the range. So we'll get this out of the way, and we'll get the firearm back together. Now, once you slide the barrel back together, right, we have the small tab on the bottom. As you can see, this little tab goes on the bottom. The double tap goes towards the top. Right? There's 2 individual ears here. So you take that, slide that into the barrel. Make sure it's in the locked position when you install it. You don't want to have it like this. You want to have that gap fully closed. You will then push this into the firearm, get it up a little bit, pull it back, make sure it's in the locked position and it's all the way back like so. It's just going to make it easier for you to get your recoil spring in. Again, the recoil spring goes small side towards the front. This large end goes towards the edge of the barrel. So we slide that in there. We're able to push that in. Okay, and then we're able to make sure our hammer is down. And we're able to get this lined up with our frame rails after we lube everything up. And then you wiggle it back on. Make sure you capture everything. And then again, we're going to pull it back to that little half moon right there. Line it up with the rest of the circle. Put this in. Slide, stop, slide, release lever. Get it held back together. Again, rack it back. Make sure the chamber is clear. Safe direction. And it functions. So that's a disassembly. That's a pretty cool little dive into the new Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7. That tempo barrel is really something that I'm looking forward to getting out on the range, getting out and shooting. I want to see how soft the recoil really is. So this weekend, I'll be super excited to get this out there and really try this out without an optic. And then I think I want to grab an RMRSC, throw it on there, because I think if it's such a light recoil, this might be a fun target gun, something for me to have out there for the range. Maybe even some of the youngers can use it. I'm really excited about this. If you liked the video, you found it informative, let me know, like and share. There's some links down below to check out, and thank you for checking it out. See you guys. Thanks for watching our video. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
Comment below. We want to hear from you. Get more content from Family Firearm Reviews by joining our Patreon and checking out the links in the description.